Thank you, Mike. Woo!
Coming down, we love showing the place off. It's got a long way to go.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
The projector from the projection booth up there.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have it all restored and where we can turn it on and run it to show people how film used to work. Most people have no idea what film is or how it used to project or how you got sound off of film.
We actually were just talking about that. The film was so flammable, right?
Oh yeah, very dangerous. The projection booth is like a vault. You know, I mean, it's a fireproof vault.
Huh.
Here's some old pictures. 1931 when the theater opened, brand new.
Yeah.
After the big fire.
These are on your Facebook page, I think. We
so.
really appreciated them.
Yeah.
So.
The Palace Theater burned down in 1930. And, they rebuilt this theater in 5 months. They worked 24 hours a day for 5 months and had it back open in
Wow.
1931. Yep. Howard Hughes actually owned it. Him and a partner bought it. They were buying theaters around the United States. And so $50,000 turnkey.
Wow.
You could even pour a sidewalk hardly through.
Wow.
Of course, now there's. Let me,
Just a bunch of tiny pictures with
yeah, nobody really remembers how projectors worked or how film works. Film is it's just sort of a roll of slides. The projector shows us 25 of these per second, so your brain sees it as motion. It's really just a bunch of still photographs. And there's a little tiny track on the side that is a squiggly line. See that those two little squiggly lines? That's if you looked at that with a microscope, it would be a bunch of wavy lines. And those wavy lines, a little beam of light right here shines through the film, and those wavy lines are turned into sound. That's how you get the sound off of the film. So the projector's job was to show us one frame at a time. There, it moved to the next frame, the next frame. So 25 times a second, really fast. I don't have electricity here yet, or I'll show you how it works. So the projector just did this 25 times a second each frame. And then the audio came from the little beam of light. So this is a 1946 projector. So this was their last upgrade. This was the projector that was used up through 1984 when they shut the studio down.
I have to say, I saw American Werewolf in London, and somebody stole the transformation scene. The 6-minute transformation scene had been cut out. Before it got to McAllister, it had been cut out because you could physically just cut it out. And keep it. Yeah.
Because if the film ever stopped, if it jumped a cog and stopped, it would immediately, the light was so bright, it would burn a hole through the film. Very dangerous. And if the old film, if it caught on fire, you almost couldn't put it out. It was very dangerous. Then they came out with safety film in the probably 50s, late 50s, and it wouldn't burn as steadily. The light source was brighter than the sun. It was, have you ever seen anybody welding, welding with an arc welder? This is just an arc welder, basically. It had two rods that touched, just like an arc welder, 600 volts DC, just like an arc welder. And then it reflected off of this reflector and back through. And it was so bright, it was actually brighter than the sun. So you'll notice like the little window, see that's a welding helmet filter right out of the welding industry. So pretty amazing, hot, terrible job back in those days. Can you imagine running this a hot July day in the projector booth, no air conditioning? So film came in 7 reels. These reels are 20 minutes apiece. So you had 2 projectors. So you started number 1, and while this 20 minutes was playing, you put reel number 2 over here. I had a foot switch. So as soon as there was 3 little dots, white dots that would show on the screen. Most people never saw them, but right at the end, 3 white dots. And that was the projectionist hit the foot switch, and this projector took over. And if you're good, nobody would ever notice the difference. You'd never miss a frame, or certainly not 6 minutes, right?
Or, you know, at the drive-through, you honk your horn if the projectionist didn't switch the film.
Yeah.
Well, and here
So-
everybody started throwing popcorn.
Yeah.
In the old days, they threw fruit, the vegetables and fruit edges.
At the
In the peanut gallery, it was called. The back seats up in the balcony were called the peanut gallery because that's where all the folks sat that couldn't afford the higher price tickets in the old days. And all they could afford from the concession stand was peanuts, so they had a bunch of peanuts. So the reason 20-minute reels is because the rods only last 20 minutes, actually 22 minutes. So those would burn out in 22 minutes. So you had 20 minutes of light, and then when you started this projector, so now you had 20 minutes to put the new film in, put new rods in, get them adjusted, tested. It was a lot of work, and I'm sure those guys didn't get paid hardly anything.
I didn't know that the rods themselves were disposable, or right, that they burned
They
out.
bought them by the boxes of hundreds, and you had to have an A and a B, an electrode and an anode, and they would come together. Once you set it up, then an electric motor would keep it feeding, and in 20 minutes it's burned up. So I'm gonna be able to show a little tiny movie right here just to show people how they used to work. So it'll be an educational device.
Yeah.
If you were to buy one of those, like today, that still would work and stuff, how much would it cost?
Well, I see them. You can't buy new ones, of course.
Yeah, not new ones,
But I've seen some used ones for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. That probably was $20,000 new. I would imagine that was a lot of money back then. Given the fact that the theater only cost $50,000 back in 1950. So we have some ideas for possibly moving Marshall into the gift shop and having an encounter right there, so we can have more of a lobby with seating and chairs. There's several things we're looking at. So now we step back into 1931. This is the original theater that hardly anything has been done to it. The seats are in storage because everybody asks, why can't we restore the old seats and put them back in? Well, first of all, they're in terrible shape. They're from 1946. It would cost a fortune to restore them. But in 1946, we as a society were this wide. And in 2025, so most people couldn't sit in the old chairs. So we've got to have all new seating, and we're going to make this, everything's going to be exactly like 1931. We want to keep it as original as possible, but we need to survive. We've got to be able to do other things than just show movies. In today's world, you've got to be a multi-purpose event center. So we're going to level the floor in 2 very subtle levels. There'll be one just very subtle flat floor when it comes to right here. It'll curve just like the balcony, and then it'll step down to the next level, which will be another just subtle level. So we'll have a level floor when it's all over. So we'll be able to do tables and chairs, do dinner theaters. We have a wedding coming up in January. You can do birthday parties, you can do concerts. We can set it up and show movies just like it is the original theater. So a multi-purpose floor lets you do, and you can survive that way income-wise. Yep. So that's our major change for in here. Everything else is going to be back original 1931. The reason the ceiling's missing, years ago the government had removed the asbestos in the plaster. It was very dangerous. So they got a grant way back for like $220,000 for the government to come in and remove all the asbestos. So it's sort of a bittersweet. It's safe. It's a blessing that it's safe and all done, but it left us with a skeletal ceiling. So we're getting some quotes on new plaster. There's all kinds of new lightweight materials now that you can do with plastics. Sort of stuff like that. And
That seems like that's going to be a huge, big deal. You know, we're looking at the bottom of the balcony, right?
yes.
And then, so,
And then all the ceilings. See, it had a barrel ceiling, which means it was curved. And this was one of the few Art Deco theaters in the United States that was supposed to be like you're sitting out in a garden, like in Central Park in New York. So this is like the skyline of New York, the buildings. And they even had little fake trees in between the buildings originally to depict Central Park.
that's
And
splendid.
the ceiling's dark blue to look like nighttime. And they even had twinkle lights in the ceiling to be stars back in 1931. I have no idea how they did that before LED. So this was a movie theater only. And a group way back called Cast, that was the local acting group, they purchased the building and they built the stage and turned it into a performance theater. So now you can do movies, you can do stage plays, even though it's not a real big stage, but you'd be surprised. This is about the average size of most little dinner theaters around the United States. So we're going to put it all back original as much as possible.
I had,
The balcony is humongous. People don't realize how big the balcony is. I mean, it goes almost back to street level. That's the projection room up here at the very back. It's small. But this whole theater seated 744 people. It's just amazing. You couldn't do that nowadays with fire marshal codes and the fact that chairs are bigger nowadays than they were back then in people.
I didn't realize that the, that the Art Deco decoration went up into the balcony. In my lifetime, those
remember.
balcony lights had never been on.
I know, I don't
So,
remember it at all, but the street, the buildings and the scenery went all the way to
Yeah.
the back, yep. And they had beautiful Art Deco colors. You see you see the impressions at each top of each column? See those reliefs coming out? Those are all hand painted in different colors, just like the border is around here. Art Deco colors.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah, it was an experience. Everybody has a story about their first date. You know, I remember my first date in junior high. Exactly where I sat, right over there. And it took me an hour to put my arm around the girl, and the movie was over. But it was the most amazing day of my life.
this is a pretty good sized stage, right?
It's not bad because, see, it goes back quite a ways here. The curtain system, I got a quote on a new curtain system. And if we do a round curtain, beautiful red velvet, weighs 650 pounds of material. It has all the swags and the thing down, the tassels, and it's on an electric curved traverse mechanism. $17,000. But that's the heart of the whole stage. And if you do a round one, then when the curtains close in between, say, play scenes, you can set the stage up. If we had the curtain back here, you wouldn't be able to restage for the next scene
Yeah.
without sliding props out and stuff. So that's why we're going to try to do the curtain. Upstairs, phase 2, we're going to do, that's all concrete, precast concrete that we can't change. It's sort of like a stadium in a way, if you think about it. So we're going to do individual box seats. In other words, like in Vegas, if you ever been to where you have a box and maybe there's 6 or 8 chairs assigned to that one box. And I sort of see those being corporately sponsored, maybe, like the local banks own their own box. They can let their customers use it. They let their employees use it. Businesses, families can sponsor a box. I have room for about 14 boxes with 8 seats. For the projection booth, we'd like to put a big pass-through window up there. a little wooden deck. And then have that to be beverage food service for the upstairs for the balcony. So like a concession stand in a way. Maybe call it the projector room or something. And I can't wait to have my first dinner through here. You know, of course, the meeting place, they had some great little dinner through instead of the cast.
Indeed. You know, mom always talks about that very fondly, right? The dinner theaters.
Yes. I loved eating there. A lot of us from the church came down and ate all the time. Had a great serving area back there in the kitchen. I guess the kitchen's still there. We hope someday that maybe somebody will open that back up, because I'd love to work out a deal to, if we had a dinner theater here, to prepare and hot cart food just like they do in New York.
Have somebody who would cater in, the food. Well, that kind of makes me wonder, are there plans can you open it without putting an elevator in, or are you going to have to?
Oh, yeah, because we're on the National Historic, we wouldn't be allowed to put an elevator.
Oh, that's interesting.
We're on the National Historic Heritage. We can't really modify certain things that ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, only sort of controls you on the first floor, and we will have ramps where needed. Of course, the restrooms have already been built as it is, but downstairs will be. Yeah, unfortunately, there's first of all, there's no really way to do an elevator without really tearing up the liability of the building. And elevators are about $280,000. So, our whole budget on this, I think I can get it completely finished for about $650,000 to $700,000. We've already raised $125,000. Have you seen the marquee at night?
I saw on your Facebook page the beautiful faux neon, but the neon lights back again.
The neon is just such a power consumer, and the birds break the tubes all the time. The pigeons land on the tubes, and then when they take off, they shove themselves in all that and cracks the tubes. So that's why we decided to upgrade, first of all, power consumption. So we spent about $30,000 on the marquees. Nothing is cheap.
But it's such a big display. I don't know about you, but like in 1970, 1971, 72, I just remember maybe 2 of the letters would still light up. And that was all. Right? They would turn it on.
Yeah, the transformers were a big fire hazard. The last time they officially turned it on was about, was it 2 years ago, Christmas maybe, and they had to have the fire department down here on hand just in case something blew up. So that was our decision process for going neon. I mean, LED neon. And LEDs use 24 volts DC, which is like a flashlight. There's no comparison. Super safe, no heat, and they last about 17 years.
And really bright, really colorful.
So I built a laptop computer in the control room. I converted a room up there and built all the electronics to run the marquee. So now I can do, from a laptop, I can do 40 different segments of the marquee. And a million colors, because they're red, green, and blue LEDs, just like these lights. And you can mix any color you can think of. So like we turned it all green for St. Patrick's Day. We can do pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Red, white, and blue for 4th of July. So it's just super versatile.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. Well, and it's such a draw, right, to get the town aware of the project.
That's why we chose to restore that part of it first, because it was just, we felt like it was all the best advertising tool. So we just had a bunch of air conditioning donated. This has not been air conditioned. And, hey guys. What we would like to do someday, see, there's not a fly space. You know what a fly space is. This is all the background store. So there was never a fly space because this was not a performance theater. What we would like to do is cover the whole back wall, 40 feet by 30 feet.
Well, and they're filming movies that way too. These days, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at the Pruitt, you can be in Switzerland, you can be in Germany, you can
Any
have like a
place.
storm come up, you can be in the ocean. So it's the way, that way you have multiple curtain system backdrops, props, just amazing. So for about $42,000, we can buy.
Well, and then that screen becomes your movie.
Exactly.
Your movie screen as well,
Exactly.
right? Because
So
it's all
no
digital
projector.
now anyway.
Exactly.
Huh.
And a digital projector for movie theaters is $150,000. So it's actually a much better deal with that.
I am looking at a wooden air shaft.
That is one of the original
I was
ventilation.
gonna say, that's actually original to the building, isn't it?
And it hasn't been used in years. Well, they've not had air conditioning for 40 years.
Yeah, but
So-
you know, the old metal, I mean, you can tell the metal is probably newer, but the whole thing that when Howard Hughes built this theater,
no kidding.
they put in an air conditioning, a chiller with wooden air shafts.
Yes, there was a chiller on the roof and then of course pumps on the bottom.
Yeah.
The giant boiler right below where we're standing was a giant boiler. It looks like a steam locomotive, of course. Dangerous, oh my gosh, the boilers
I
were
can only
burning.
imagine. Well, and I didn't know this was here.
That's
This
the-
tight little.
Yeah, that's the, it's just a little partial basement where all the heating and cooling is.
Yeah, a circle staircase getting down.
I just restored the master blower, which is the original 1931 blower. And works like a charm. I mean, it's like the day it was built.
That is amazing.
So it cost us, we had to run some new wiring to it. I had the motor checked out, put 2 new belts on it, and less than $100. And so we've got the whole.
Get it.
Yes. So BMAC, just Mr. Ettner, you know, Fred, just donated $38,000 of their conditioners. 2 big giant commercial.
Oh, that's lovely.
So we're getting ready to install those in the back alley. And then we'll have to bring ducts in through the brick wall. It's a little bit of a challenge. And then we'll tie it into all this existing system that worked for years. So we should have, here in about 2 weeks, we should have.
I'm sure in 1931, in August, that would have been the main draw. I mean, sure,
Well,
you get to watch a movie.
That was all their advertising said.
Air conditioning.
Cold air.
Cold air.
Because it was so rare back then. I mean, I bet that pack replaced just because they had air conditioning. And they also advertised that in the newspaper, the big ad said you will never breathe another person's air. And they were talking about this blower. Because that moves so many cubic feet per minute of air. It's just amazing that you probably never would really breathe somebody else's air.
Well, and during the polio scare, right?
Well-
Like during successive waves of.
And I'm sure people were allowed to smoke back then, I would think. Because most smoking was even still around in the 80s, wasn't it? Yeah. So it would have been grueling in here, shoulder to shoulder with 744 people.
How full was the theater the last time you were in here? Or what's the fullest the theater ever was when you were in here?
Gosh, it used to be packed, especially on Saturdays.
You know, by the time I came on, it was, it was a second-run theater, and maybe as a small child they never brought me to a nighttime show anyway. Maybe I always went to matinees, but I just remember sitting, I and the person I came with maybe scattered around, not very many people.
I know this was kind of our babysitter for the
I was
matinees.
just going to say, the common thing I get from older folks is, hey, we were just dropped off here in the morning and picked up at night, or we had to be home before dark, and they didn't care. The theater didn't mind if your kids behaved. Now, Tina Lewis was the ticket lady here for 40 years. I don't know if you probably don't remember her, but she was the policeman. If if you tried to sneak your friends in the back door, you'd get banned from the theater for life. And like the balcony, she was the policewoman in the balcony with the flashlight. There's one corner right up there. See that corner of the balcony? There's about 2 rows of seats behind. It's like a theater area. Don't you know that?
Smooches,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
skullduggery.
I bet that was a hot spot for sure.
Well, and that was the big thing, right? The balcony was closed when I was here.
Most of the time, they would only open it because there's certain dangers involved with simply falling over the edge. And they would only open it as they needed, for overflow.
Well, that was the big thing, though, was to sneak up into the balcony.
Oh, of course, they
I know.
didn't have enough employees to keep it. I'm sure Tina kept a close watch on things, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was quite a place. Gosh.
Well, yeah, I was telling them that I saw Planet of the Apes here. My brother snuck me in for a matinee when I was like 5. So I had to promise that I would not have nightmares, and I would not.
Oh, man,
and if I did have nightmares, I would not confess where I had gotten the nightmare.
That was a creepy movie.
So
First time, I remember seeing it the first time. Yeah, a lot of people. Now, the last movie that ever showed here was in 1989 when they closed the theater, and it was Uncle Buck with John Candy.
Is it possible to get a sneak peek into the projection room?
Of course.
Balcony seats.
These are the original balcony seats, yep. And you can see how small they are because back in 1946 we were.
Okay, you have to stand. You have to stand next to them, Maddox, so we can see that. You could sit on one, but
It's amazing how large the balcony is. People don't realize it is humongous. And it's all precast concrete, so we can't do anything with it other than we're going to experiment with some box seating possibly in the future. We don't really know yet. Phase 2 is way down the road.
That would be cool,
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but we thought we might put a redwood deck up here, about a 12 by 30 or 40 deck, and then have a concession stand or beverage room, whatever you want to call it, in the projector booth, and then have all our box seating down. So the projection room is up here. Be careful, watch your steps there. Then they should be. So be careful. So yeah, this is non-public area. So this is where the 2 projectors were mounted. And the one that we had downstairs was here. And then they had their own little window that they shot out of and right onto the big screen.
and then the second one.
Yeah, and then you notice, remember I was talking about those rods? Look at all the burned out rods. They just threw them down when they changed them. Yep.
Wow.
I need to take a few of those and put in a display case.
Yeah.
So some of the electronics is still here. It looks like Frankenstein movie back here. Look at this is where all the main power came into the building. And it took a ton of power to run this thing. I mean, of course electricity would have been cheap back then. In today's standards, oh my gosh, it'd be thousands of dollars a month to run something like this.
And is that a window out to the outside?
That's a little tiny. There's probably a pigeon standing right there.
There's always a pigeon.
Yeah.
In downtown McAllister, there's always a pigeon. So
So the projectionist, he had no time. Now this is a fireproof room, by the way, too. And you notice the wall, the doors, had a fire mechanism where these slam shut in case of a fire. So they had weights and a thing called a fuse link that would melt in case of a fire. See, they were all certified, made by a big company. They all had the Underwriter Laboratory UL approved and everything.
my father said that in the farming community he grew up in, the big thing to do was when the movie theater caught fire, you ran and you rode your horse over to watch the movie theater burn down, and then they would build it back, but it would just burn down again. So
of course. Here's some old film we found in the catacombs. this is where, I'm telling you, it's like some of the title film. See, they would trim and fix the film up before they send it on to the next theater. We found some neat old bags and advertising and stuff from way back.
And I guess those are the storage container underneath where you
Yes, where the
put
film, that's where the reels went. And
Yeah.
usually no more than 7, but sometimes there were more. So the projectionist had his own bathroom. Trip over these pipes. This was the bathroom for the projection. Had his own sink. And there's the big generator. See over there on your left? See the big generator?
Holy smokes.
That's the generator that made the 600 volts DC.
Wow.
It took a ton of current to
Wow.
make those rods burn. And then, so here is another little room, but it is an exhaust blower that they actually would use to suck air out of the room. And this is the same, you heard that blower I started up while we
Yeah.
this is its sister to it. See how big it is? It is humongous.
Holy smokes.
Now this was for ventilation only and had a big vent that went out the outside. So it would pull air out of the, like on just an average day where it's not hot, they didn't have to use air conditioning. And then storage room back in there with shelves and stuff. Yep.
Well, and I'm going to show that doorway, just how thick that wall is
Yeah, everything is
for fire,
fireproof.
right? To make a fireproof. I'm putting my hand up for, you can see how much of a wall that is to make it fireproof.
So wouldn't have been a very good job with that to be a projectionist. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up all those rods and put them in a display case or something.
Yeah. Well, that's,
This
And that's
was
the-
the original fuses for the whole building, and they were these giant breakers. Not breakers, sorry, tube, like paper fuses, they were paper tube, coppers on both sides. Now the fuses are all gone. But,
That would have been
Yep.
still here.
and dangerous, man, if you touched any of this, you'd die in a minute. They didn't have any safety, OSHA or anything back then. I mean, dangerous. And here's where they monitor the current to the projectors, the amount of amperage that they pull. And they could adjust them and
With your-
tweak them.
with all of the,
So all this
Old-fashioned
equipment.
dials.
Oh, yeah, isn't that cool?
Yep.
Analog needles. So
Yeah.
all of this equipment belongs to the projector, but of course I couldn't move it down there with the projector. It wouldn't.
yeah.
It'd be cool to have it on display, but we don't have room. This little room here was sort of I think it was just once you got things running, I think the guy could come out here and close the door and escape the noise. You can imagine how loud those projectors and all the fumes. And he had his own little window here, he could watch the movie. And so this was sort of like a little break room. Look at the old bottle cap.
So you said it's 50 by 110,
50 by
the whole
100,
thing?
The whole building.
Yep. And
Be
then
careful a long way down there on those steps.
1.5.
Those are almost just backwards steps, aren't they there?
That's the kind you walk down backwards.
Yeah, look good. So
Hey, don't
here's-
try it, don't try it.
And see, all these original handrails are the 1931 handrails. You see how fancy the hands are and everything? This was back when they built things to last forever.
Wow.
So this is the back staircase to the projection booth. And this building used to have windows everywhere, but they've all been bricked up. This is the mezzanine area, which is the original restrooms, men and women's restrooms. So if you look over the balcony, it's sort of it actually is just a second story, even though it's considered mezzanine.
I do remember that you have to go up those stairs in order to get to the restrooms.
So
So-
here's Jared Sutmiller, him and his wife rebuilt these little, this is what the inside's supposed to look like with the colors and the dark blue ceiling. And so that's sort of mimicking what the original Art Deco interior would look like.
And what it's going to look like again, right?
Yes. And this is going to be our little office. This was just the storage room. So this is my new unit I built to run. It takes all of that to run the marquee. And it's all ran from a laptop computer.
So this theater is the last one standing and it never burned, but they meant for it not to burn, right?
Right. This is considered a fireproof building. In 1910, they built a majestic theater here. It's a vaudeville theater, way before movies. And then in 1922, they renamed it the Palace Theater. And in 1928, they totally rebuilt it, brand new, beautiful, refurbed it, gorgeous theater, and in 2 years it burned to the ground in 1930. And everything was all solid wood back then. So when they built this, they built it out of all concrete, plaster, and steel. So that it's a fireproof building.
So I guess the asbestos that has been kind of the bane of the project's existence now is possibly part of what saved it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't burn for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Maddox wanted to ask his question, which is it fireproof or fire resistant? He was.
Is it fireproof or fire resistant?
It's fireproof. There's nothing to burn. The only wood in the whole structure might be a few sticks of wood around, like trim and stuff like that. So it's considered a fireproof. The Aldrich Hotel, the reason it was never torn down, and what saved it from being demolished was the fact that it's a fireproof building also. It's all concrete and steel.
Well, thank you.